If you watch a lot of anime or manga related content on YouTube, I'm sure you've seen videos like these in your recommended. And if you happen to click on them, then you know what a manga recap really is. However, if you haven't, then let me fill you in on them.
While he listens to his enemies casually talking about green tea.
Recently, in the past 2 years I'd say, however, maybe even longer than that, there's been a large number of these videos that some refer to as manga recaps. If you've ever watched a review of any kind, be it for a movie, series, or even anime, then you pretty much get the gist. However, instead of just telling you if it's good or bad, giving you the good and bad points, etc., they straight up explain the manga while showing you panels from it. These panels are usually and most popularly accompanied by an AI voice that reads out a pre-written script telling you the story instead of letting you read it. I guess the best way to describe it is, imagine your mum reading you a book before you sleep. However, the more and more you listen, you start to realize that her voice sounds kinda odd, almost fake and robotic. Alright, enough of the scary stuff. Now there's many different manga recap channels on YouTube. They're able to churn out videos every couple of days, or in some instances, every single day. This might be in part due to the fact that they use these AI voices, which once created can be used for every video from then on. Of course, if you've made any kind of content ranging around 5 to 10 minutes, you know that editing can take a bit, especially depending on how much effort you put in and what you're trying to create for the final product. I'm not 100% sure how these channels are able to churn them out so quick, so I'm not going to give you a definitive answer. However, it could be many things, such as multiple people working on these, paid editors, or joint creators, low quality content, or making them in bulk at the start and then always having a backlog of content to post. But if you look at people's views on AI in general, especially when it comes to creating something, people aren't super thrilled. I am of course referring to places such as ArtStation, which has people posting "Stop AI Art" as a protest, and there's also people that have made content describing how they've actually lost jobs because of AI. So why are there so many channels making this kind of content, and why are they clearly so popular? Well, firstly, let me say that I don't personally have any issues with these channels. It's not uncommon for content creators to not use their own voice, as they may not want their voice out there, and they either don't want or don't have anyone that would voice these instead, and that's perfectly valid. Not to mention that it's really popular. I mean, there's a lot of these kinds of channels making similar content, and even though the view count varies, I haven't seen any video of this kind go below 10k views, and they can reach an upward of 1 million and above based on the algorithm and thumbnail traction. So clearly there's a want for these, but why? Well, if you know about anime in general, you'll know that a series first begins as either a light novel or a manga, which then might become popular enough to get picked up by a studio which will animate it. There might be some things I missed in between, but that's the general idea of what happens. Now, anime and manga are very popular around certain parts of the world. There's a good chance that even if you don't watch anime, you've probably at least heard of Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist, One Piece, AOT, etc. And if you're anything like me, well then you don't read the manga or light novels much or at all, and instead prefer to watch the anime when it comes out, if ever. I believe this ties into why manga recaps are so popular, and I'll explain why. By the way guys, don't forget to subscribe so you get notified of any future videos we make, and of course, we'll be more motivated to make them, so yeah. Firstly, the popularity of reading manga or watching anime may vary depending on where you are in the world. This is only what I've heard, so take this with a grain of salt, but manga is more popular in Japan, whereas anime is preferred everywhere else. I could be wrong of course, and if anyone knows better then please let me know, but this is the general gist of what I know. I can't exactly speak for everyone else as to why they prefer anime, but in my experience, anime is just a more full experience compared to manga. I can't enjoy reading a manga as much as I can watching an anime because in the show they have cool animation, banger soundtracks to elevate them, voice acting, and more. Unlike manga, anime stimulates my sense of seeing much more than manga as well as hearing. I don't think this means I have no sense of creativity, as I could definitely imagine these characters talking in my head, think of the sound that their clashing swords make when they meet, but that's not what I want when I'm trying to relax and enjoy a story. In an anime, I get many visual and auditory treats that get me excited to watch more and get invested. Something that manga isn't able to do for me, and maybe others as well. The manga recaps bypass these problems for me and make it more enjoyable. I will say though, talking about the quality of some of these videos, they can be quite lackluster. Not all manga recaps are made the same, and they vary depending on the channel and how much work they decide to put in for them. In one channel you'll see that they have the moving panels and some casual music in the background. They might also add some flashy lights or outlines to certain scenes, but overall it's not that exciting. Whereas if you look at another channel, they might add sound effects and change the music for the atmosphere that they thought that the author wanted to portray. Whichever way you look at it, you can't deny that there is some effort being put into these, and with every new video they do get better. Even if you dislike the idea of AI being used in such a way, they are entertaining to a group of people for either the reasons I explained, or something else entirely. In my opinion, I see no real difference to manga recaps compared to audiobooks, for example. It takes the same idea but changes the medium, and unlike audiobooks, you also have the manga panels to look at. Obviously there are differences. Audiobooks officially licensed products that are approved by the authors and are put on massive websites that usually make you pay a subscription or buy the audiobooks themselves. Clearly that's not what happens with manga recaps, as YouTube is free excluding YouTube Premium, but it's not a required subscription to get access. But because of YouTube's rules, these channels are within their right to make these videos, as they aren't claiming these stories as their own and are merely making them more digestible for the people who don't want to read the original source. I'm sure you can make an argument as to whether this is right, because they're not directly supporting the authors by making these, but let me tell you something. One day when I was scrolling YouTube, I found this video. The thumbnail seemed a bit bland, but the black and white contrasted well with the colored thumbnails littering my feed. The title was quite intriguing as well. Clearly I had no idea what it was referencing, as I didn't know what it was about and there was no name for me to look at, but a mere sentence. The isekai that broke me. When I clicked on the video, I won't lie, I was a little disappointed. This wasn't my first manga recap video that I had seen, and I thought to myself that I was clickbaited by my sense of intrigue and played on my interest, as many clickbait thumbnails do. However, I was feeling pretty tired and I said, screw it, might as well see what this is about. I ended up not finishing the video. However, it's not because of what you might imagine. I actually got so interested in the story that I actually looked up the manga itself and decided to read it, which, if you've seen our podcasts or my previous videos where I talk about how I don't like reading manga, this was very unusual for me. And now I actually have a manga I'm looking forward to reading when more of it comes out. This is a true story, and I believe this is a testament to why I think manga recaps are a good thing in this day and age. By making the content more exciting, or just by clickbaiting you into checking them out, they give exposure to the stories that you may never find. Sure, they might be a little disappointing when you actually look at them because the thumbnail was a bit too clickbaity, but nonetheless, you saw what they wanted you to. In the end, I'm sure that there's people that are still going to have a problem with these types of videos. Either people will talk about the lack of creativity or effort, or the classic, they're using AI voices argument, in which case... But anyways, this is the end of the video. There's a lot of things I could have talked about, like diving deeper into the AI wormhole that people worry about, and more on the subject, the fact that some translations are being done by AI now, but I wanted to keep this video focused on manga recaps. I do hope that you enjoyed the video nonetheless, and I'd be very happy to see your thoughts on the subject in the comments. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next video.